Hi there, I'm Lou Ann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. Eric is a certified financial planner, and he is someone who is passionate about helping retirees. So happy to have you along with us today. Today we're talking about reasons your financial advisor might not be the best for you as you're heading into retirement. And so, Eric, we've talked about, signs, warning signs to kind of identify, maybe this advisor was just good for investing and getting me to where I am, and now I'm ready to retire. And maybe I do need to change advisors. And people are going to find it awkward, maybe difficult to fire their advisor, especially if they're a good friend or someone they've worked with for years. So do you have any suggestions that might help with that process?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's always awkward. And obviously as an advisor myself, every once in a while somebody leaves us too. It's fine. It doesn't always work. It's just like friends. There's some that you hang out with more and some you start realizing, that friend from college isn't really the same person, I want to hang out with today. Right. So kind of a little bit similar to that. But, really, if it's somebody who's more just helping you with accumulation and they're not educated on distribution and they're not, really focused on how to get the most out of your dollars when you retire and pay the least lifetime taxes, then that's the time to replace the person. And, usually what we do is we just tell people it's, all you have to do is send a message saying, thanks for all your years of service. It was great working with you. We just decided to make a change and we're moving on. And, that's really all you have to do. I mean, nowadays you really don't have to even talk to the old advisor if you really didn't want to, because it's really all you're doing is typically you're just doing what they call ACAT, which is automated clearing account transfer, which is just a digital process. So if you're moving it from, say, a Schwab account moving to Fidelity or vice versa or whatever, it's usually pretty fast and simple. If you're doing a 401k, you call the 401k company and move it to your IRA. So, your advisor's not, in the middle either for that. For insurance type stuff, sometimes, there is some forms, but again, there's not really much that the other advisor's doing. It's not like they're having to, sign off and release you or something like that. So,
right.
But most advisors should have done it before, had issues before. Right. And especially if they are somebody who does more accumulation, they probably are more used to having people leave them when they're older because they need different things.
Right. So it makes sense, and they may not be surprised or anything like that, like you said. So if you think about it, and you mentioned fees and things like that, small fees, expenses add up over time, and they can eat away at your retirement money. And so there's some hidden costs, too, that we're not aware of. So talk about that for a little bit, Eric, how people can get a better handle on what they're paying for the advice they're receiving.
Yeah, I mean, that one's always a hard one because I find a lot of people just don't even know. And sometimes we have to do a little detective work from their statements to figure out what they're actually paying. So that is something just to know that. I always say, there's nothing wrong with paying a fee as long as you're getting good value, right? It's kind of like those ads about how many subscriptions do you have and all those things, right? If you're paying for Netflix, which doesn't cost that much, and you watch it several times a month, that's probably getting good value. Yeah. If you're paying for Netflix and you haven't logged in for 6 months, then that's really stupid, right? Get rid of it, right? So again, the fee is based on what's the value you're getting for that fee. Now if the person never talks to you and hasn't talked to you for 3 or 4 years and you're paying them a management fee, that's really awful. You also have to watch out for, especially if it's like if it's a commission brokered person, you might have things like the mutual funds may say A on them or B or C. If they have these, letters like A, B, or C, those are ones that you're paying commissions on and fees that are kind of, they're legally disclosed, but legally invisible. So they're hard to find. And so those are the ones that you got to really watch out for. There's also some trickier ones. I mean, I know there's one major company that when they manage your funds, they put you in the most expensive funds that they have. And so they have higher internal fees, but they charge you a slightly lower fee. So it sounds like they're charging you less, but they're really kind of double dipping and getting more. So, it's two things you want to look for: is any actual costs, right, that you see. So like, account fees, trading fees, things like that, financial management fees. But then you also want to look at the cost of the funds and investments and how much are those. So yeah, it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of analysis. So it's, but if you're working with somebody, they should be able to quickly and easily answer that question. If they can't, that's a big red flag.
That's a red flag. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Thank you. Now, as far as investments go, I want to talk about investment risk, because every investment does come with risk and people can be very uneasy about that. But, how can people make sure that their advisor is giving them advice regarding investments that match their comfort level?
Yeah, that one can be tough. I find a lot of advisors have a bias to their own personal risk level. So a lot of times you'll see, especially younger advisors, sometimes have a higher risk level and such. So obviously, as you get closer to retirement, closer to needing take that money, yeah, you do need to be downsizing that risk. You do need to have that number going lower. The easy way we do it is we actually have the risk score quiz that people can take. It's actually on our Wealth Creator website. And, what you do is on that, it just asks you a bunch of questions and tells you, are you good with the ups and downs, right? I mean, that's really what it's about. Nobody complains about the ups, right? It's just the downs that we don't like. And okay, how much can you stomach, right? Is this a roller coaster that's going to flip you around 4 or 5 times and have you upside down and you don't like roller coasters? It's like, you want to know before they strap you in, right? So that's important information. And same with the stock market. It can be quite a roller coaster sometimes. And, can you handle it? Because if you're going to bail when things go down, that's something you should have never even gotten on the ride at first, right? So, you're just going to hurt yourself long term. So, that's one of the big things. So, one of the things that we have in our digital toolbox is, things like, will your money last as long as you do, which is critical to risk, having some of that money guaranteed, having some of that money, steady income, not having it all in the market, timing your Social Security decisions, how much you're paying in taxes, and a copy of my book, Worry Less Wealth. So, there's also a way to set a time to talk with us at Heckman Financial. So all you got to do is text the word toolbox to 800-454-1184. Again, text the word toolbox 800-454-1184, or click the link below if you're watching online.
And you're listening to Wealth Creator Radio. I'm Luann Fulmer here with Eric Heckman. And, we all hope that the advice we're receiving is, truly best for us. What are some ways people can tell and can ensure that their advisor is genuinely looking out for their best interests?
Yeah, this is where our industry gets, I don't know if you want to just say annoyingly, maybe is a good word, annoyingly complex or something. So, you hope all doctors take care of you in the best manner possible. You hope they're not pushing one drug versus another drug because of that drug company took them on a vacation or something. Yeah. But who knows if they are or aren't, right? And same with the financial advisors. One thing is if they have a thing called registered representative on their card, that means they have a suitability standard of care, which is basically anybody who's in your demographic. It could be the worst product, but if it fits your demographic, it's okay. If it's fiduciary standard of care, that means these are usually registered investment advisors, like ourselves. This means you have a fiduciary standard of care, which is this in your best interest? And, then you have to actually use the lowest cost products and you have to use the best things for people. So you'd hope our whole industry at some point goes to this, fiduciary standard care, but unfortunately they still haven't. And some companies that sell all their own products, it's really tough for them to ever qualify for that because a lot of times your product's not the best. So you have to use other companies. So if you're beholden to one company, it's going to be tougher. But, but again, that's why we want to be educated. So that's why we set up that digital toolbox. So if you want to get access, all you got to do is text the word toolbox 800-454-1184. Again, toolbox 800-454-1184, or click the link below if you're watching online.
Still more good information to come from Eric Heckman. We'll be right back with Wealth Creator Radio.